I have got a really fun video for you all today. This is one of the first things that really interested us as far as trying to utilize some of nature's gifts that were already available for us. That's one of our biggest passions. That's why we love foraging. We truly believe that everything is out when you need it, and it's already right here. So when Francesco and I first moved out here, our property is full of sugar maples. Really all kinds of maples, but we're going to be talking about sugar maples here. And we knew that the coolest part about sugar maple trees was that they exude this delicious sweet water. And what can we do with that water? We can make maple syrup. We can do all kinds of things. And I'm going to tell you about all the things that I like to do with it, because I know things like making maple syrup you could research on your own pretty easily. My left arm is getting really tired from this selfie stick, so I'm going to fix that real quick. Utilize my strong arm. Sorry. Oh, and we're back. Okay, so I'm going to show you one of our tapped trees right here. Her name is Magnolia. I know it's kind of confusing since she's a maple. Anyways, Magnolia has been tapped 4 years in a row. Right now it's pretty early in the season, and I'll tell you a little bit about how to know when to tap your trees. If you can't tell, it is beautifully sunny, and yet I am still wearing a coat. That's a pretty good indicator of good tapping time. Reason being, it's the end of January, and we are still like back and forth between warm days, cold nights, freezing, thawing. The plants are trying to spring up, and then they're getting destroyed by frost, and at least that season is good for something. What happens is, when it gets cold, all the saps in the water in the tree from the rain and the snow kind of come together, congeal, and stiffen. And when that's happening and it's freezing out, if we were to come out here and check our tube that we've put into the tree, nothing would be really happening. But then you wait for a beautifully warm, sunny day like today, and ta-da! I don't know if you can tell since this is clear, but this entire bottle is full. In fact, I really need to go and empty it so it can refill up. And you can see, well, if I let you can see how dark this tree is, and that is from all the sugars dripping out of these holes that our friend the woodpecker has created. Drying, dripping, and that creates that like kind of blackness. And that's a really good indicator that you have a good sugar maple tree for tapping. So this is just the best. We have several trees on our property that are tapped, and this is, like I said, the beginning of the season. When it's really full season, we will switch out this gallon size jug to a 5-gallon size container. And we've got about 4 trees on our property that we visit regularly during maple season. Now, a little bit about maple syrup before I jump into other things. Well, actually, no. Let's back up. Let me just tell you about the benefits of this magic maple water. So, well, first let's say hi. Hi, Maybell. Hi, Titi. Maple water is incredible. First of all, it's sweet, but it doesn't taste like you're just drinking sugar water. It's just perfect. It's full of electrolytes, which is really nice. When we're hiking and we have our trees tapped, we will literally take the tube out of the tree and take a nice big gulp of it, and it's just perfect for like when you're hiking the property, you're tired, you're worn out, you need that little boost before you get home. It's really, really pretty good for you because it's got all those electrolytes. It's extremely high in antioxidants. It's also got magnesium, zinc, what am I forgetting? Manganese. I always think I might say that wrong. And it also has a good bacteria, which makes it really wonderful for helping with digestion. I think it's got a few strains of good bacteria, or I would tell you exactly which one. So we've got like an electrolyte, probiotic, source of magnesium, zinc, and manganese in a freaking tree, right? It's pretty cool. So now let me talk to you a little bit about maple syrup. Maple syrup is, quite frankly, a bitch to make. You cannot make it inside. Please take that seriously. Francesco had just a tiny bit the other day, and he was like, oh, I'm gonna do it inside because I'm excited and it's raining. When I walked downstairs, I could have ripped his head off. I was so irritated. Why, you might ask? Well, hot sugar steam fills the entire house, and I don't know what it is about this sugary water, but it fills the house a lot more than if you were to just boil sugar water on the stove. I'm talking, I had to go through with alcohol and paper towels and wipe down our front door, which is 2 rooms away. It was full of sugar steam, all the windows, walls, cabinets. It is a nightmare. So that makes it a little interesting and a little tricky. What we have to do is build a cinder block fire. You could use any form of fire. The reason that we build this handy dandy thing, not so cute, I know, is because we can fit a grate from our oven right on top of it and then stick a giant pan or pot, whatever you're using to steam out your maple syrup in. It's gonna take a long time, a really long time. You wanna know why? Because out of 5 gallons of maple water, you're probably gonna get 1 quart of maple syrup. But that's okay. Sorry guys, little flash there. That's okay because these trees are really giving. You're gonna be getting about 5 gallons a day between a couple trees. It's really a lot. So what's also hard about that is it takes a while, but you also can't really leave it or forget about it because ashes and tree things and bugs and stuff are going to be attracted to it and might fall into your pot. So that makes it a little tricky. So what we try to do is set up our maple syrup situation on days that we're out here doing yard work. Maybe I have some hydrosols I can put on too. We'll end up cooking on the fire throughout the day. You just want to really make it an outdoor day. Get all your projects done outside so you're out here. You can keep an eye on it. Another thing I would recommend is getting a grate that you can put on top of your pot or pan. Something like a splash guard to keep things from getting inside of it. I'm sure you could get creative and use a number of other things to get the same situation done. It's really incredible stuff, and even though it takes a really long time, the feeling of watching a child smile because they're eating a syrup that they've made is epic. You could be that child too. You don't have to have a child. So another thing I want to share real quick before I get into some other ways to utilize the water. There is a beautiful chapter in the book. I know I talk about this book a lot, but if you have read Braiding Sweetgrass, there is a lovely chapter all about the art and ritual of making maple syrup. And she talks about how the elders in her community figured something out with nature where they were filling giant trash containers full, like big metal tubs, I imagine. I'm right here, girl. It's okay. And what they would do is fill it up. Oh, someone needs all the attention. I love my girl. They would fill these giant tubs up, and I'm sure you could use any kind of like galvanized steel tub, like if you have a farm and you use those for feed or whatever. They would fill those up, and then they would let them sit out overnight on a cold, freezing night, because that is going to eliminate like 1/3 of the process. Because what'll happen is all of the waters are going to separate and turn into ice, and then you can just strain off your the concentrated amount of maple water And I think that you could even, I think she mentions, you could take that big tub and put a little nozzle at the bottom so that you could let it freeze, and just strain off that good stuff. I cannot tell you the smile that came across my face when I heard her telling that story, because I just can't even imagine the amount of work that took off for them. So if we know that we're going to get a freeze, I am absolutely going to use that idea, and I guarantee you that's going to shed off a good 10 hours of boiling. Also, of course, depending on how much you have to boil. But that's a pretty genius tip right there. Okay, let's talk about some other ways you could utilize this magic electrolyte water. So, oh, I had so many ideas before. What I'm thinking about doing is just using it in place of anything that needs water and sugar. For example, I'm getting ready to make a video for you guys on how to make a kefir whey soda. And when I make that kefir whey soda, what I had planned on doing was collecting my whey from my kefir, juicing some fruit, maybe some pears and apples, adding a little bit of agave or simple syrup, herbal simple syrup and water, and creating a soda. Instead, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my natural sugar water that I've got from my sugar maple, and I'm going to take some fruit juice. The goats are headbutting and being really cute. Let me see if I can sneak it. Goaties. Oh, there they are. Oh my gosh, they're so funny. So yeah, I'm just going to use that as my sugar water. And I could even get crazy and cook down some nettle or some elderberry or whatever, any sort of herb I would like to, in that sugar water to create an herbal tree syrup that I'm then going to make my soda from. Another thing that I might use it for is Francesco and I use natural fermentation to make all sorts of things, from vinegars to meads, wines, beers, sodas, and you have to use sugar when you're creating alcohol. And so typically we'll make a simple syrup. Well, guess what? We've got one. Nature's made it for us. I'm going to have to pass that one on to Pascal Boudor. So there's just a number of things you can do. Think about what you use sugar and water for. Perhaps making a jam. Perhaps making a simple syrup just for cocktails or for mocktails and teas. Making an infusion. So many things that you could possibly use it for. So just if you have a sugar maple tree in your yard, or a birch tree, or a hickory tree, there's a number of trees that you can do this with, but if you're here in the South, sugar maples are very prevalent. So this is a really fun way to utilize what you got. This is one of my absolute favorite activities, so I will also end up posting a video, I'm sure in February or March, on one of our big boiling days to show you that process too. I'll also keep you updated with any experimenting I do and any other things that we make from the sugar water. And one last note from the goats before I let you go. Don't forget to headbutt your partner, guys. That is love right there.